Okay, so you want to know what is the scientific method? Well, it has 4 steps. Now we're going to go over those 4 steps. The first step is characterization. That means the characters of the story. For example, the runners. The second step is the hypothesis. That is a scientific and educated guess. For example, the barefoot will run faster than the shoes. The third one is prediction. That is the outcome of the hypothesis. For example, the barefoot will run faster because it is lighter than with the shoes. The fourth and final one is experimentation. That is the experiment, the analysis, and the conclusion. Let's say for the experiment, you get a stopwatch, barefoot, and you run around the track and see whatever time it is. Let's make it 1 minute, unrealistic, but whatever. And the guy with the shoe will run the track, and I have no idea, but let's make our hypothesis correct by making it 1 minute, 1 second. So, if that was the result, then the person who is barefoot wins, meaning that hypothesis is correct. And that's pretty much what the steps are in the scientific method. Okay, so there are 2 different kinds of data. The first one is quantitative, and that is numerical data. For example, the runner was 5 feet tall. That is quantitative data. Qualitative data is the characteristic. For example, what he ate for breakfast. There are 2 kinds of reasoning. The first one, inductive. The second one, deductive. Inductive reasoning is logical. Deductive reasoning is not logical. An inductive reasoning example is, all beds are indoors. I am in a bed, therefore I am indoors. That's logical, right? A deductive reasoning example is, Abraham Lincoln is dead. Most dead people get sick before they die. Therefore, Abraham Lincoln got sick before he was dead. And that's not logical. He was actually shot and killed.
Here are the parts of the microscope. The eyepiece is the part you look through. The body tube is the tube that leads to the lens. The objectives are the different lenses with different magnifications. The arm is the piece that holds the objectives and the body tube. The stage clips holds the slide. The stage is the piece that the slide sits on. The light source is where the light comes from. The base is what holds the microscope. The diaphragm adjusts the amount of light that goes into the slide. The coarse adjustment knob adjusts the stage, and the fine adjustment knob adjusts the height of the stage. Finding out the total magnification from each objective is easy. All it takes is simple math. For the small objective, it magnifies 4 times. The eyepiece magnifies 10 times. So looking through the small objective magnifies 40 times. The medium objective magnifies 10 times. The eyepiece magnifies 10 times. So the 2 multiplied equals 100 times. So looking through the medium objective magnifies it 100 times. Looking just at the large objective magnifies it 40 times. The eyepiece magnifies 10 times, so the two multiplied together equals 400. Therefore, looking at the large objective magnifies it 400 times.
Preparing a wet mount is simpler than it seems. All you need to do is get out a plain slide, put a drop of water, put the material on, and put the slide cover on. And you made a wet mount! Yay! Okay, so these are characteristics of life. The first one is that they are made out of cells. Cells are the building blocks of life, and organisms have at least one cell to live. For example, my dogs are living. The second one is that they use and need energy. Energy is the ability to do work, and the sun is a main source of energy. For example, my dogs, here they are eating their food. The third one is adapting to their surroundings. All organisms have features that help them survive in their surroundings. For example, the snowshoe hare. In the summertime, they are brown, but in the wintertime, they are white. The fourth one is that they react to changes, and life reacts to changes in the environment. For example, in the summertime, my dogs shed fur. In the wintertime, they grow fur. Number 5, reproduction. Organisms produce more organisms at the same time. There are 2 kinds of reproduction. The first one is asexual, which is just one. And there are 2 kinds of asexual reproduction. Binary fission, which is bacteria, like the one bacteria splits in half into 2. Yeah, okay. And budding, like a cactus. And these little things on the side are buds. And if they get planted in the ground, then they turn into another cactus. The 6th one is that they grow and develop. Living things change during their lives. Growing is getting taller, and developing is changing your appearance. From being little old-faced, little young face, to being old with wrinkles and white hair. Looks kind of creepy, sorry. Okay. The 7th one is that they display cell organization. Doesn't mean that they keep their rooms clean, but it means that their cells are organized. Like cells, tissues, organs, organism. The 8th one is homeostasis. Mammals and birds are endotherms. It's a more scientific way than warm-blooded. And reptiles, amphibians, and fish are ectotherms. They try to maintain a fairly similar temperature. The 9th one is that they respond to stimuli. My dogs are gonna give an example of responding to stimuli. Come, girls, come. So there are lots of organisms out there. 13 billion to be exact. Classification is the arrangement of organisms into orderly groups based on their similarities. Classification is also known as taxonomy. An important part is binomial nomenclature. That is a 2-name system of the genus and the species. When you type, italicize. When you write, underline. And also capitalize the genus, but not species. And taxon is a category in which related organisms are placed. And there's even a saying for all of the taxons. So the different kinds of taxons are the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. And a fun way to remember is Dumb King Philip came over for ginger snaps. And an example listing the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species is a dog, for example. For the domain, it is a eukaryote, and I'll explain what that is later. And for the kingdom, it's Animalia, which means it's an animal. For phylum, it's Chordata, that means it has a backbone. For class, it's Mammalia, that means it's a mammal. For order, it's a carnivora. For family, it's Canidae. And for genus, it's Canis. And for species, it's Lupus familiaris, meaning that a dog equals a Canis Lupus familiaris. Biological classification has its uses, benefits, and limitations. I'm going to list some of them. The uses for biological classification is there are lots of languages spoken in the world, and there needs to be one way of knowing what organism they're talking about. For example, dog, there are lots of languages for it, like dog, barrel, shin. There needs to be one way that everybody knows of. Canis lupus familiaris. There are benefits for biological classification. First of all, everyone or every scientist knows what you're telling them, no matter what language it is in. However, there are limitations. The first one is not everyone will know what you're saying, what you're talking about, unless you teach them. And there are lots and lots and lots of different types of organisms, and remembering them all can be hard. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, a prokaryote and a eukaryote are two different kinds of cells. The eukaryote has a nucleus, and that's what animals have. A prokaryote does not have a nucleus, and that is what plants have. This is form fits function. Each organism has a function for its form. For example, a duck has webbed feet, an eagle has talons, and a woodpecker has a foot in the back. The reason why is because ducks swim, eagles hunt, woodpeckers must hold on to like the tree. The difference between a hypothesis, a theory, and a law. A hypothesis is an educated and scientific guess. A theory is a widely accepted explanation because of continual testing, like the Big Bang Theory. And it's also the foundation of science. A law is a statement that has been proven true. For example, gravity. Like, if I drop this, it drops. If I drop this, it also drops.
Whatever.